Hello and welcome to Marty's Place. I really appreciate you coming to check us out. I'm going to show you how to do a piece of real Chilean sea bass. Chilean sea bass has an interesting history because at first it was called Pacific toothfish. It had a real nasty tooth pattern to the front of it, and so that's why it was called Pacific toothfish. When it had that name, people didn't, really know how good the fish was. People were scared to purchase it. Hence, they came up with the name Chilean sea bass. And man, let me tell you something. The Pacific toothfish is looking over its shoulder ever since because all of a sudden it's the hottest fish on the market. You can also tell by the price. Sometimes Chilean sea bass runs as much as $35 a pound. So it is the filet mignon of the sea. So what I've done here is I've got a piece of this beautiful fish, and then we take and we put some miso glaze on it. What this is equal parts mirin, equal parts rice vinegar, and equal parts white miso paste. What you do is you pan sear the fish. After it's pan seared, you top it with this glaze. The glaze is awesome because it's savory and it's got a little sweetness to it. It almost forms like a candy crust. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about because I'm going to go ahead and plate what I have. We've got our beautiful sea bass, and we have our rice that we do at the restaurant. Now this rice is Reese Beese rice. And what we do, we take peas and carrots and we saute them together. Then we take our sea bass, put it on top of the rice that has the peas and the carrots in it, and then we take some beautiful snow peas and we put them around the dish. Now, isn't this an awesome presentation? The flavor of this fish is absolutely amazing. So much so, I'm going to take a fork and try it. Look how beautiful this is. And with the rice, it's amazing. It eats like butter. The sauteed snow peas are perfect with it. And here we have a salute to you guys because I'm so happy that you're coming to watch and you're coming to learn. Cheers. Thank you guys. So let's get started with this wonderful dish. This is a pan-seared salmon, and I've got cherry tomatoes and onions that are served alongside of it, and if you'd like, you can put it on the top. So what we're going to do first is we're going to take our onions and put them in a little olive oil. Then we're going to take a couple pieces of garlic and put it in there, okay? Then we're going to take this beautiful bowl of cherry tomatoes and put them right inside. Okay, now what I'm doing is I'm basically melting these cherry tomatoes with the onion. Then I'm going to take a little bit of canned plum tomatoes because these have a really good flavor. So I'm going to add it to my regular tomatoes. Then I'm going to let this all simmer till it cooks down and it sort of caramelizes and melds well together. Okay? And next, I'm going to take some nice king-size cut salmon and I'm going to saute them because they're going to go with the fresh tomatoes. Okay, now that our tomatoes have started to simmer down, to a nice sauce, then what we do is we add our herbs and balsamic vinegar and then just let it rest. So you don't cook your basil, you don't cook your vinegar in it, you just accent it with the flavor. So I'm going to put the basil and the vinegar in it, then I'm going to take it off the heat. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put a little olive oil in a saute pan and I'm going to sear this beautiful salmon. Okay, what I've done now is I've got my king cut salmon. I've got my salt and pepper on it, but I have a product that we make at the restaurant called Ponzu Sauce. And I love to use Ponzu Sauce on any type of seafood, sometimes on meats. So instead of just olive oil, salt, and pepper, what I do is I take just a little bit. You don't want to use too much because it has sugar in it, okay? And what it'll do, it'll burn or caramelize to the skin of the fish. So all you want to do is put a little bit on and season it with it. Now remember, this Ponzu sauce, if you go to the grocery store, if you buy sushi and things like that, this Ponzu sauce is the best for dipping sushi or using it as a marinade. So now I'm going to put my salmon on. Now I'm putting it flesh side down. And I'm going to let it cook until I get that nice pretty color and it starts to firm up just a little bit on the top. Then I'm going to flip it over. Then I'm going to put it in the oven for just a few minutes. Then, after I take it out of the oven, I'm going to put it with this delicious Panzanella salad and the melted cherry tomatoes with the balsamic vinegar and the basil. Now that's a perfect dish. Light, healthy, satisfying, and delicious. So whenever you're dieting, it doesn't have to be boring. It can also be a heck of a lot of fun. So I'll be right back with that salmon. Okay, now to go with the delicious salmon dish that I just prepared, I'm going to do an Italian Panzanella salad. This salad predates tomatoes in Italy. Remember, Ecuador and Peru, where the Aztec Indians live, were conquered by the Spanish conquistadors who sent the tomatoes to Spain and then on to Italy in the 16th century. So I'm going to show you now how to make a Panzanella salad. Now this is going to be the 20th century version, okay? So I'm going to have tomatoes in it. Now what you do is you start out with cubed stale bread, okay? That bread is going to absorb the vinaigrette that we're making. Now what we've made over here is a classic Dijon vinaigrette with a little salt, little black pepper, little good olive oil, little champagne vinegar, and it's just like a classic French Dijon vinaigrette. So what we do is we're going to take our red peppers, our red onion, we're going to take our yellow bell peppers and our tomatoes. Put them all in a bowl. Then we're going to add capers, okay? So now I'm going to add these capers, but be careful because you don't want to add the juice of the caper. You just want to add the caper itself, okay? So there's a nice mix that we've created. Okay, now doesn't that look awesome? That's a very refreshing salad. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add the breadcrumbs. So what we do is we take our cube bread and we stir it with our vegetables to make this great salad. Then I'm going to take this Dijon vinaigrette that we made, okay, and we're going to put it over the top. And that's going to be the way that you get your salad to cure, okay? So this is the salad, the Panzanella salad, that we made to go with our salmon with the melting cherry tomatoes, okay? So now this salad is designed to sit for at least a half an hour before you serve it. But that is so beautiful, and that's what we're going to serve with our salmon. So to finish this fabulous dish, I'm going to go ahead and plate it. And just to remind you, good food can be healthy and satisfying, so it doesn't have to be something that you think of as diet food. It's just healthy and it's delicious. So now I'm going to take the salmon out of the oven and I'm going to top it with the melting cherry tomato sauce. Look how great this looks. So we take the nice big king cut salmon, we put it on our plate like this. I'll return this over to the stove, and then wait till you see these melting cherry tomatoes with the fresh basil. Now remember, you don't want to cook this sauce very long because it's got the fresh basil in it, so you don't want to disturb that natural flavor. You want to reheat it like this. You want to put it on top of your salmon. And there you have an amazing dish that I created just for you. And I'm looking forward to you coming back to seeing us do something else on Marty's Place. Thank you, guys.